Here with volleyball head coach Chris Campbell for BCEagles.com. Chris, to start off, can you reflect on the past two games this weekend? What were some things that you saw that were positive, and are there anything that you would have liked to have done differently or worked
Yeah.
on?
Well, we came out 0-2 on the weekend, so yeah, there's definitely some things we'd like to do differently. But there are some good things coming out of it as well. Friday night against Wake, we started the match. Neither team was playing great volleyball. They were close sets, but kind of lots of mistakes, lots of little errors. In those first two sets, we came out on top of the first one. They came out on top in the second one. We went into halftime and came out, and we had made some adjustments after halftime, and then came out and played great. Third set, it was almost a carbon copy of the match a week before against NC State, where we'd split the first two, and they came out and made some adjustments, both in strategy and personnel, and blew their doors off. The difference was that a week before, we had the discipline, the mental discipline, to jump on the start of the fourth set as well, and we showed some inexperience there, even from experienced players. That after the third set, we started the fourth set, I think, down in a 4-0 or a 5-1 hole, and that gave Wake a little bit of confidence playing at home in front of a good crowd. They were able to build on that. We had the opportunity to really close that match out and didn't, and so that's frustrating, and the players recognize that too. And that was it was a pretty quiet team room afterwards. Everybody realized we really let that slip away. That we've got to be able to stay in that kind of middle zone, not pushing too hard and trying to overdo things, but not too relaxed and playing too conservative. And we fell out of that zone and couldn't get back in. Now, I've said this a number of times this season, but it still holds true. This team does not quit. And Saturday, we had a couple-hour drive to get over to Duke, got into the gym Saturday afternoon for practice, and they were ready to go. They were ready to work. And we had a couple of, the first three sets against Duke was good volleyball. Some of the best that I've seen us play. Long rallies, great defense. I think Maddie may have had 20 digs at the end of the second set. Just really, really good volleyball, and we split those first two sets. And the third set was good. There was just a little mistake here and there, nothing glaring, just a missed serve when we had them on. We get a 3-point run, and then instead of them having to score to get out of it, we'd miss a serve and let them out of it. That happened twice. Those kinds of things that we're still battling. But, the response to a really disappointing and frustrating loss on Friday, to come back and fight hard at Duke, which in Cameron is always a difficult place to play, again, speaks to the character of the group.
With only 4 games remaining on the schedule, do you see any more of the workload being given to some of the younger players in order to get them more game experience? Or is it still the focus just going out and putting your best lineup out there?
Well, the younger players are playing. They already are playing. I was looking at the starting lineup in a couple of sets, and I did notice it, when they go through introductions at the start of the match, and, they announce each player in their year. At one point, I think we had like 2 freshmen and 3 sophomores in the starting lineup, and maybe and then a junior and a senior or something like that. Our young players are getting lots of time and handling it well. I think in the broad picture, we're really going to benefit from that experience. Flip side of that is we are a bit inconsistent while they figure some things out, and we need our older players to carry the load on that. They need to set the example. That's what experience is supposed to teach us. So. There's no question, though. I think we are benefiting from the experience that some of the freshmen, sophomores are getting.
This past week, you had 5 new players for next season sign their national letters of intent. Can you just talk a little bit about that class as a whole that'll be coming in and what they mean to the program?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think we've got a nice mix of players in terms of what they bring to the program. There's a good balance of just straight skill, talent, and then also a real kind of fire. You can, each one brings their own deal. Jane, setter from Chicago, plays for one of the top high schools in the country, and certainly one of the top clubs in the country. I think they finished 5th in Open Club Nationals last year. Super competitive, very accurate, precise setter, and just driven. That kind of classic setter mentality. On the pins, you've got Jill and Kat Bolito, both of them very versatile, can play left or right. Jill has great ball control, can play all the way around. Kat has great range of shots, great offensive options. Jasmine coming in can play middle, can also take a swing on a pin. So it gives us a lot of depth. And of course, Marissa coming in at libero. Again, plays for one of the top clubs in the country. So they, between them, they bring a lot of high level club experience, but also they add some depth, and you see that in 2 ways in your program. One, in your play. If somebody's having an off night, you have options for giving them a breather and getting somebody else in. And then also in your practices, the more depth you have, the more competitive your practices can be. And ultimately, that's what drives people to get better, is having to get outside of their comfort zone, make changes that they haven't made already. The easy ones are already done. So you got to find some way of helping them to make the changes that, for whatever reason, they have a resistance to. And competition is one of the easiest ways, or most effective ways, of doing that. So bringing in a reasonably large class with a lot of talent it's going to make us better. We're really excited about it.
And the final question, this weekend, upcoming weekend, you have games against Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech, 2 teams that you've already played this season. Going forward into the weekend, what does your team do differently this time when you play these teams so you can possibly see a different outcome than you did back in October?
Well, we talked earlier about experience and learning as you play. And for us, there's all sorts of like little tactical things or technical things that you work on in practice, but there's also a mindset, a mentality of finding the balance, right? Of Greg Popovich, the coach of the San Antonio Spurs, has this wonderful expression. He calls it appropriate fear, that you have to play with appropriate fear, that it's not fear that locks you up and keeps you from performing, that you're scared of losing or scared of making mistakes, so that you're super tentative. But by the same token, if you have no fear at all, that's just totally relaxed and fun out there, then it's summer camp. It's not volleyball. And so you've got to find the middle ground, the level of fear, I guess, that keeps you sharp, that keeps your edge, that keeps you right on the edge of your best play, without allowing you to slip down into just sort of comfortable, and not allowing the fear to get into making you really tentative and scared. We talked a lot about that over the course of the weekend, especially after the Friday night result against Wake, and we were better at that in the Duke match, of maintaining a consistent level of play. It was good volleyball. That's definitely that mentality. And now that they can really understand, we've talked about it before, but now that they can really understand what that means, I think we may have gotten through to them in a way that they can really internalize it. And that's the biggest change going forward for this weekend and the following weekend, is to try to, it's the mental approach of how you go into the game, in addition to trying to, you're always trying to become better technically.